Welcome to Digital Thread Bytes, a workforce development podcast produced by the Digital Thread Initiative team at Sinclair College in Dayton, Ohio. In this podcast, the team discusses the coming revolution in digital, highlighting digital transformation success stories and opportunities for learning. Here are your hosts, Elizabeth Generous and Jennifer Gravitt.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 8 of Digital Thread Bytes. Elizabeth and I are here today to talk about a little bit of advocacy and action associated with the Dayton Regional Manufacturers Association. And we're going to talk with Angelia Erbaugh, president, and she has served DRMA and the manufacturing community in Dayton for over 23 years. And she's going to share with us a little bit about why this organization is so critical to the Dayton area and how we can continue to strengthen the region by supporting manufacturing. So thank you, Angelia, for being here with us today.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate having this opportunity.
Awesome. Well, we'll just start off with this first question for you. If you can, for our listeners who may not be informed, what is DRMA and how did you get involved?
DRMA is the trade association that serves manufacturers throughout the Dayton region and beyond. We've been around since 1934. So I like to say that we're not a fly-by-night organization. We kind of know what we're doing. We are an independent trade association, and why that's important is, first of all, what does it mean? It means that we are fully governed by ourselves. We're not a chapter of a national association or a state association, for instance, but we have close ties to many of those to help us expand, grow our impact, give us more horsepower to get done what we want to get done. But basically, our purpose is to be the go-to organization, the voice of manufacturing, the advocate of and for manufacturing throughout the region. And we provide programs and services that give our members the opportunity to advance their businesses, to strengthen their business. And then in doing so, it strengthens the industry collectively throughout the region and beyond. 200 manufacturers as part of our membership, with another 130 organizations and companies who supply manufacturing. So 330 companies strong. So therefore, we feel like that, we really can be the voice because we hear from enough companies throughout the region to understand what their issues are and to be able to speak for them. And then also in turn to be able to provide them services that will help them grow their business.
That's wonderful. And so how did you come to be involved with the DRMA?
It was a little bit by chance, but mostly about working my network. It's so important for everybody to always build bridges, always build relationships, because you never know when an opportunity is going to present itself. But in it's actually now 25 years ago, when I was hired, they knew me because I worked for my predecessor who had a small business. And one of the things that she did was to run a couple of small trade associations. And I got to know her. I started working on the association part-time for a couple of years. And then I went away to help a friend do a startup business. And it was during that time that the board of our association decided that they were going to grow it and make it into what they wanted it to be. They really needed full-time attention by a real staff person. So they reached out to me and they hired me as even though we've been around for almost 90 years, I was the association's first real live employee. And they hired me because my skill set at the time was I was good at getting things done. But now over the course of 25 years, what I've learned that the skill set that I developed that is as important as that is back to that building relationships thing. And what I didn't mention earlier is that when we changed our name about 20 years ago and inserted the word Dayton region, that was simply mostly a pinpoint on the map for people outside the area to have a clue where we are. We don't have a geographic limitation on where our members need to be located in order to belong. And those 330 companies I mentioned, they're located from Cincinnati to well north of Sydney, Springfield, Clark County. And now we have a couple of members in Richmond, Indiana.
That's great. I didn't realize that you had that kind of reach. So in existing for 90 years, then Jennifer and I have noted over the last, we've only been doing this for one season. We've only been involved in Digital Thread for almost 2 years, but the pace of change is dramatically increasing. Are you seeing a lot of change in manufacturing? Are you seeing a lot of the digital transformation that Jennifer and I have been learning about?
The answer is Yes, but manufacturers, that's their life. Technology has been changing for 100 years. And so manufacturers who are aware and who know how to stay in business are always looking at what that next new technology or transformation is going to be. And they try to stay ahead of it, of course. When you all got this grant and started using the term, that's the first time I had heard the term digital transformation. I asked, so what exactly does that mean in the context of your grant and for manufacturing? So the term digital means something to manufacturers. Not sure they would call it a digital transformation, but they certainly understand the word digital. And some of that stuff they've been doing for a long time. Things like sharing data electronically with their customers, blueprints. No longer do we, have a roll of blueprints for a part or a piece of equipment that they're building, and the customer brings it over to their office. No, they've been sharing those kind of files for some time electronically. They also have been acquiring their production and process and quality data electronically. They also get that data, the requirements from their customers electronically. The manufacturing equipment talks to each other electronically, along with of course, the office computers. They're all interconnected. So that kind of thing they've been doing for some time. I think now maybe some areas that manufacturers are now jumping on board with or getting more knowledgeable about are things like cybersecurity, like we all are. Also around implementing automation to help them improve and speed up their processes. And primarily because skilled talent is so hard to find now, they're, of course, I think on a faster pace to investigate and implement automation to help them get the work done because they can't find the people.
Right.
So the whole idea of digital is not new to manufacturers. Some of those components maybe are on a newer end for them, but manufacturers are very nimble and very able to adjust and adopt whatever technologies come their way.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, we had cybersecurity, we had Sean Waldman last month, and that's all new to Jennifer and I. We've learned so much just about our own personal cybersecurity. We were talking about passwords yesterday and how you should make them more complex.
And then remember them.
It's
Okay, yes. I get the complex password thing, but how the heck am I going to?
Or not, and just keep changing them every time you log in, whatever.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
How did you know?
Exactly. A lot of people don't think about the role and importance that manufacturing and supply chain plays in our lives. They just kind of take it for granted. But a lot of us had a crash course in it during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. How can we support manufacturing in the region, and how is DRMA working to strengthen it?
Okay, I'd like to first give you some facts about the manufacturing industry in the Dayton region, because it has a huge impact. Our industry has a huge impact on the local economy. Most people probably get that the Dayton region has been a center for manufacturing for decades.
I had no idea. I honestly had no idea. I'm not from the area. So the facts, one, I love that you're giving us facts. And two, I really had no clue. I've heard some of these before and I'm just boggled. So yeah.
And that's interesting to have you say that, Elizabeth, because this is my world. And so, it's hard sometimes to realize that people not in manufacturing don't know this stuff. But here are some, I think, pretty impactful statistics. And I'm going to read these from my list because I want to get them right. Right now, today, we also do this data collection once a year. So this is fairly new information. We have almost 2,500 companies who are manufacturers in the Dayton region. And for this purpose, we use the Dayton Development Coalition's definition of the Dayton region, which is 12 counties, surrounding Montgomery. Those 2,500 manufacturing companies employ 130,000 people. That is a total payroll of $10.2 billion with a B, and that makes up 16% of the region's total payroll. So the industry is huge still in this region and growing every year. One example of that, we're thought of as a one-stop manufacturing shop. There are so many different specializations and processes related to manufacturing. But in the Dayton region, you can buy equipment, you can start making stuff, you can get those parts treated with special processes like heat treating, coatings, platings, those types of things, those words you might have heard. You can get those parts back at your shop. You can do the finishing processes on it, and you can get that product out the door to your customer in days. For instance, as close as the Cincinnati region, because their manufacturing makeup is a bit different, might take 3 days to get the parts sent out to a heat treater and back, whereas in Dayton, it takes an hour and a half. So we have this breadth of our manufacturing capability in this region that makes the whole process of manufacturing whatever is getting made happen more quickly, more efficiently, and to higher specs than other manufacturing centers in the country. So what I say is it just boggles my mind how the mindset of a manufacturer that they can see the end product, they can visualize the processes that are needed to make it, they know the equipment that's going to be needed to make it, and they acquire the talent to make it. And at the end of the day, they can still make a buck. It just blows my mind. I'm fascinated. What's kept me motivated for these 25 years is the conversations that I have all the time with these brilliant people. And some of them are not college educated. We have, that's our workforce message, is that our industry offers very viable, very lucrative career paths for people with all education levels, whether it's high school, whether it's a high school plus a certificate. And you all at Sinclair, by the way, are so good at this. Maybe associate's degree, maybe 4-year degrees, maybe advanced degrees. Whatever it is, our industry needs all of those folks. Most of our need is in the group of high school plus certificate, maybe associate's degree. So many of our people are not scientists, but they can see everything that it takes to make a part and make it happen and still end up making a profit at the end of the day. They're fascinating. Their minds are fascinating, and I love working with them.
That's amazing.
My skill is running a trade association, by the way, and I'm just really, really glad it serves manufacturing.
That's exciting.
Yeah, that's really great. I love that the passion that you have for this, and I had no idea. I mean, you just don't know if you're not from here, and even if you are from here, I think people don't think about what goes into creating something as simple as
No, you wouldn't. Most of our manufacturers in the Dayton region don't sell a proprietary product. Their name isn't on that end product that you would recognize as a consumer. A lot of other manufacturing clusters across the country are known for a particular industry. I think we're very fortunate, and that's been proven through several cycles of the economy since I've been in this job, is that because our manufacturers are so diverse, they can serve customers in different industries with their specialty. So they might have customers in the defense industry, but they also might have customers in the transportation automotive industry. And they might have customers in the kitchen appliance industry. And when one industry is down based on the economy or the market, then they can bump over to one of those other ones. And that's also what kept almost all of our manufacturers operational during COVID, because of their diverse set of customers and the supply chains that they were in. Almost all of them were deemed essential because they were serving various industries.
Amazing.
You asked me about how to support manufacturing.
Yes.
I mentioned several times that our biggest challenge right now is not having enough people in the pipeline. You folks at Sinclair are so instrumental in helping to educate and train people of all ages for various careers, and your involvement in the manufacturing space is certainly critical to our having enough people. But we continue to we do a lot of work in exposing much younger students to careers in manufacturing. We go to them with a display at lunchtime, and we try to do fun things so they'll come over and talk to our volunteers about careers in manufacturing. We also kind of do the opposite. We host and encourage and help our members bring in students to see contemporary action and process. We believe that's the key. Hopefully what we're doing inside schools at lunchtime is getting them interested. And then we encourage those middle schools and high schools to do a field trip and visit one of our manufacturers, because you You're just not going to get what it's really like until you're inside. Let's just show off all this technology, all the digital stuff that's going on, all the automation, that it really is a cool place to work. And then we hope after that, then they'll say, okay, I think I can, this is pretty cool. I'm going to put manufacturing on my radar screen as I'm deciding the rest of my life.
I think it's making a big difference. I think we can all see everything shifting a little. And I know that I had never been in a manufacturing space before this, and now I've been in a couple, and I think it's great that we're moving in that direction. You talked a little bit about what motivated you having those conversations and building those relationships, but on the flip side of that, what is it that keeps you up at night? What is it that worries you?
In my role in leading this trade association, what keeps me awake is what's affecting everybody, and that is I don't have enough staff to get all the good stuff done. So that literally keeps me awake. How am I going to get this next plate of really good stuff done? But that's also the concern. I've mentioned that's the number one concern of our members. It's everywhere. It's all the time. That is the conversation. When you think about manufacturing, you can boil that down to being kind of scary stuff, because there's a whole section of manufacturing that makes stuff that we like. There's another whole section of manufacturing that makes stuff that protects us. And so if our manufacturers can't find enough people, then they have to wait. Well, what happens when you wait? It's that whole supply chain thing again, right? Then, okay, if they happen to be making things for our defense industry, and then they're held up, and then their customers held up, and their customers held up, and oh my goodness, now, maybe there's some really mission critical components in the defense of our industry that are not getting delivered. Our society, we're smart people. We'll figure this out. Again, with automation and other, I believe that other digital tools, will help us figure this out. But the workforce is a real challenge. And as all the economists tell us, it's not going to be solved anytime soon, but workforce is what's keeping them awake at night.
And that's a common theme. We definitely hear that because it's painful, and it can be scary.
Yeah. Something that I've seen change over my 25 years is a little bit of the attitude that, well, I'm just kind of whining about it and wishing somebody else would fix it, to fully coming around to, no, it's our job. We got to work on this. That's why DRMA owns the responsibility, leads the responsibility for attracting people to our industry. No way in the world we can do it by ourselves. We need our partners like Sinclair, like the middle schools, high schools, like all of our volunteers who work the events, but we have to own it. We have to own the responsibility of exposing people to careers in our industry and getting them interested to come in. And I've seen a real change in that. That is the mindset of the members of our association, and I would say manufacturers in general, that we have to take action ourselves to grow it, to solve whatever the problem is. And that's where innovation comes in and all that wonderful stuff that happens all the time. So I have very positive and exciting outlook for our industry here in Dayton. They're throughout the region, and they have challenges, but they'll figure it out.
Very encouraging, and a perfect segue into you sharing how listeners can find resources to connect with DRMA.
Certainly. Our website is DaytonRMA.org. We're also on LinkedIn. That's where we have our big social media presence. And of course, our phone here in the office is 937-949-4000. And if anybody's interested in all the stuff that we do, they can go to our website. And if they're interested in membership, there's also a member app on the website.
Which is exciting. And also we are promoting DRMA's upcoming events on our June flyer, so they can find that there as well. But thank you, Angela. Your enthusiasm is contagious.
Thank you.
I don't think it's a coincidence that you're seeing this shift in mindset, and here you are after 25 years. I don't think it's a coincidence that you're seeing this shift, and you've been integral to it.
Well, yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening. The Digital Thread Initiative team would like to thank Sinclair College, prime contractor Arctos, the United States Air Force, and our guests for walking into the future with us. If you'd like to contact Sinclair's Digital Thread Initiative, please email sinclairdigitalthread@gmail.com.